Baobei wants to know your opinions on genetics.
Genetics? Who?
Or eugenics.
I was talking about it yesterday.
Yeah? I assume that's why they bring it up.
I think it's what do you think about eugenics?
Like in an ideal world, right? Like
here we go.
in
a utopia, yeah, in a utopia
where it's not unethical to take away people's human rights. It would make sense, right? To like eliminate disease and diversify the gene pools optimally, right? Like breeding for good mutations. Does that make sense?
No, I agree.
Oh hell yeah!
Right? Like no, like no, like say like I wouldn't want if I had like a bunch of genetic diseases like 7 different types of cancers, asthma and skin disease and blood disease. Like what is that? Sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease. Yeah, I wouldn't want to give that to my kid, right? So I would personally prefer if I just, had a test tube baby with no genetic problems, because I wouldn't want my kid to suffer and then they have like 7 kids who all have sickle cell disease, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that personally, if I feel that way, okay. So it's for the better of humanity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In an ideal world.
In an ideal world, everybody would be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
Without eugenics, it will never happen.
No. Which is okay.
Which is okay. None of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like with dogs, right?
You think breeding dogs is inhumane?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't care, but yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I don't care either. I mean, dogs aren't people.
They're not.
And we are treating dogs that we breed as part of our status, as an accessory.
Yeah. Like,
so
when you think about it, right? Like, people are breeding dogs basically for our own vanity.
Vanity, yeah.
Yeah. And ideally, we wouldn't do that because it's kind of deranged when you think about it, to be like, all right, I'm creating this thing specifically to look good or to serve like a non-functional purpose. It's kind of like eating meat for fun, like just because it tastes good. It's like, well, when you think about it,
sorry,
like it's
Pippa,
fucked up.
I do that.
I do it too. I love jerky.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's fucked up, but also I'm gonna keep doing it.
Is it really though? I feel
like you're killing something just to eat it.
Yeah.
Not to survive, but just to eat it. Which is like, when you think about it, it's like, oh, well, I mean, that's not ideal. Ideally, you would only kill something.
Yeah. Okay, you have a point there.
Because it's like, imagine if it was like your dog, right? Yeah. Like with your dog, you have that level of compassion for it, where you would only kill and eat it if it was like an emergency situation. Ideally. Like, oh, fuck, it's the zombie apocalypse. I have no access to food. I need to eat my dog to survive. Then you would eat your dog. Ideally, you'd have like that same level of compassion for every animal, because realistically, people like do develop that level of compassion for animals if they...
Well, maybe then the animals should have evolved to not be eaten.
Maybe. I mean, personally, I don't care, because I'm going to keep eating that shit anyways. But it is like, oh, like...
When you put it like that, yeah.
It's kind of it is what it is. You can't really change how things are unless you get like an entire massive movement going. But to do something like to change the meat industry, like it would require such a drastic shift that would probably end up doing more harm than good anyways. That it's like, well, I'm gonna keep eating my jerky stick.
But I think that happiness, like somebody's... I think humans live not to survive, but to be happy. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't think that eating things for fun is like screwed up. I think that it's perfectly fine because we're doing it something that makes us happy.
Well, I think killing something for the sake of your own happiness is kind of deranged. Like, I'm fine with it, but when you think about it, it's like, oh, well, like this thing didn't have to die, but it is going to die because I'm craving a jerky stick.
I mean, things die like every day. right? Like
Yeah, but there's a difference between something dying naturally and you like consciously taking its life, you know? It's like if somebody killed your dog because they're hungry, you know? It's like, excuse me. Like you didn't need to do that. Why would you do that?
I wouldn't put dogs on the same level as like cows.
I would put like, all living creatures in the same
on the same
category.
Level?
Yeah. Because everything's alive and everything that's alive is alive and it only gets one chance to be alive. So to take that away from it.
But they don't have the capacity to understand that.
I mean, they resist dying. So I think that's
because their
like a
instinct
cow
tells them to. But
yeah,
they can't
well, that's the same thing with
why.
people. Your instinct tells you don't want to die. So it's the same thing with like cows, right? Like cows are just as intelligent as like dogs, right? But we're more emotionally attached to dogs, so we won't kill and eat dogs. And in general, people look down on like cultures that will kill and eat dogs because it's like, oh, that's barbaric. But like when you look at stuff like chickens, did you know chickens purr from happiness? Chickens like recognize faces and will run up to you and want to be held and pet, and they actually purr. I'm gonna keep eating them anyways. But like when you think about it, it's like it's kind of sad. They're delicious.
Is it though?
Yeah, I think so. I think so because like it's.
I don't know. Am I like freaking? Am I messed up for not really like even when it comes to like humans dying? Right? I think we have a completely different like perspective on these things in general because I don't really feel anything even if humans die. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm sure you would feel something if a human you cared for died.
Yeah, exactly. But it's because I have a connection.
Yeah.
With the human.
No, I agree with that. So, like people are like, oh, well, people are dying in Africa or whatever, and it's like, well, I mean, I don't know those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you think about it, like, oh, you know, if everybody like allocated their money appropriately, we could probably, as humanity, we could probably like cure world hunger and everything, and nobody would ever have to suffer again, and all we would lose is like $10 individually. But it's like people aren't gonna do that, and it's like I don't expect anybody to do that, and I don't think it's like a bad thing that people are not gonna like get together and do it. I think it's just like an inevitability, you know.
So what were we talking about again? Like dogs or like whether breeding dogs is inhumane?
Yeah, I think I think it's inhumane because it's like there's no practicality to it. You know, there's no unless you're breeding a working animal to serve like.
What is the definition of inhumane? Like lacking
in humanity.
Lacking humanity. What exactly is unethical?
Yeah.
Okay, so breeding dogs is unethical. I guess it's true because I'm thinking of like pugs and stuff and how they were bred to have like those ugly noses.
Yeah, brachycephalic or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's inhumane.
Yeah.
I don't think killing food to eat is inhumane.
I think
to eat for fun is inhumane.
I think it's beyond necessity at this point. You know, like we don't need to do it. We just want to do it. So we do it.
I need to do it.
Oh.
I'd be rather upset if I couldn't eat good meat. I'd
be upset too.
Yeah.
Like I like to eat meat, but like realistically, humans could like get all of their vitamins and everything that they need from like a fucking like protein bar or drink or whatever the fuck like nowadays, you know.
But animals exist. We are the apex predators. We can eat whatever we want, right?
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of not like eating meat, not commercializing it.
I think
Do you think that breeding like Wagyu cows is bad then? Because they're breeding the animals specifically to eat?
I think it's better than breeding animals for the purpose of just like cosmetic choices, like people who like breed foxes just for their coats, but also
for coats.
Like I think it is like on the pyramid of bad, but I don't really like care either. I think eventually the beauty of capitalism is that we will be able to eliminate like suffering like that, you know, like someday I 100% believe we'll be able to make like Wagyu probably from like cloned cows that don't have nervous systems or any sort of like consciousness.
So you believe in like growing meat?
Yeah, I think that's the future.
Oh, I would still if I have to pick between grown meat that is gonna be like a more $1 billion. Let's be real.
I mean, ideally, it would if it's a more $1 billion, then capitalism has failed. You know, the idea is to make.
Even if they were the same price, I still wouldn't do it.
No,
I wouldn't even bother eating it because
why?
It's not actually meat from a cow. You know, like part of the beauty of eating meat is to appreciate the animal that has once lived. Like when you eat a fish or when you eat anything, you kind of like thank you for dying for me to eat, right? But if it's not like a living animal, then what is the point anymore?
I don't understand that perspective, and also I think most people don't think that way, and that's how you end up with like meat food waste. You know, like a lot of people will throw away a half-eaten hamburger, you know?
Yeah,
So I don't think people really like take such a honorable mindset with it.
I think it's only for like Wagyu cows or like for exotic meats, like a fox or something. Like if you ate the fox, you'd be like, thank you for dying to be eaten because it's not something you normally eat. What if the grown meat is cheaper? I really don't think it's gonna taste the same.
Also, people are saying lab-grown meat isn't good at this point in time. I'm talking about like in the future. Lab-grown meat now, bad. Yeah.
If lab-grown meat tasted exactly the same as non-lab-grown meat, like real meat,
there'd be no reason to eat not lab-grown meat at that point. And that, like, I think that's peak. You know, as long as it's like 100% identical, the only difference is that it wasn't like taken from an animal that was walking around and shit. You know, it's like. And a lot of people are like afraid of that idea right now. They're like, oh no, like they're gonna like do that, and it's gonna make it like not taste like real meat, and they're gonna like inject like hormones into it. And it's like, well, there's already like hormones in everything you eat anyways, and you're already eating like a bunch of processed toxic shit.
I see. I mean, it sort of makes sense, sort of. But I'm a meat purist.
Yeah.
I like natural meats. It just feels better. I'm not sure how to say it. Just feels better. Like it's actually a real cow, you know?
My fellow brothers, in the face of our common dangers, in this winter of our hardship, remember these timeless words, as we can.